Good morning. I am I am exhausted and I definitely won't be on here long. Because I'm really tired today. Uh I didn't get any sleep last night. None. Well, I don't even know when I fell asleep. I think I fell asleep around 3 about around somewhere between 3 and 3:30. I think my body was finally so exhausted that I fell asleep. Good morning. Um And then I was supposed to wake up at like 6 and that wasn't gonna happen. So I set an alarm for 8:15 and then I just finally got up around like 10 minutes ago. No, not 10 minutes ago, like 8:25. But I'm tired. And part of that, so I wanted part of the reason why I'm tired, and I don't think I can process too much of it here. Um, Yesterday I spoke about the fear of being who you are. And um, when you when you decide that in this particular lifetime you are going to take on this healing journey, or you're going to be someone who chooses to be in the forefront or speaks to others about it, there's this idea that as you like learn yourself, that your life becomes like easy, and it doesn't. In fact, in some ways it becomes really difficult. Like shit happens this goes back to yesterday. This is why people are sometimes afraid of being who they are, because your whole shit will get blown the fuck up. You will be the person in your family who decides you want to heal generational trauma. All of a sudden, you know, family starts talking about you, right? You were the good kid, the dutiful daughter or son, whatever. All of a sudden, family starts talking about you. You could lose your job. You could end a marriage. Um, Things in your life. It's like shedding skin, right? When you make this declaration within yourself that there's this knowing, it's like all the clothes that you were wearing that signified who you were as your egoic self start to fall off, because you can't carry that with you. You got to be clean where you're going. So whatever layers are not serving you get shed, shed, shed. Oh, you thought you were a middle class person with all the money and the trappings. Shed. House gone, cars gone. All of who you, because in order for you to be the truth of who you are, your identity has to be stripped away from you. And I want you all to know this, like the sun is in the sky. In order to be the truth of who you are, your identity must be and will be stripped away from you. That is not a process that looks like this. That is a process that looks like crying, scratching, crawling, screaming. That is a process that looks like, why the fuck is my life crumbling like this? And so I going back to what I said yesterday, and I'll talk a little bit about my night last night. Going back to what I said yesterday, this is why sometimes this is why you gotta let sleeping dogs lie. This is why people are sometimes afraid. Like, we want to wake everybody up. First of all, that's not your job. It's not, and nor is it your responsibility. It's not. It's the same thing as proselytizing when you do that, by the way. It's the same thing as being a Jehovah's Witness or a born again Christian knocking on someone's door like, I've got something for you. I'm here to save you. Just read this pamphlet. Let's talk about it. I want you to come to my church. You know, Jesus loves you. It's the same thing. When you wake up in yourself and you're like, oh shit, yeah, and you start your journey, which is why it can be lonely. You can share it with other people, but you can't drag them in to whatever their process needs to be. Because for some people, it's really detrimental. Because this journey does not look like, but your life will be so better. That's not what it looks like. And in some cases, in most cases, I'd say in almost all cases, what it looks like is your life looks like this and then it plummets. And everybody can't handle that. For some people, it is safer for them in this lifetime to be in the matrix, to just be what they're doing. And then it becomes your choice. And let me just get on this for a minute. Part of the reason why we want to wake people up is because A, we don't want to be lonely on our own road. And oh my gosh, B, it starts to make us uncomfortable. We want to be around people like us, and then it makes us uncomfortable to be around people who are exhibiting behaviors that we might have used to exhibited, and we don't like that. Or we start to get this kind of arrogance pull to us for a minute, you know, like, I'm better than them. Why are they doing those things? Don't they know better? I know better now. How come they didn't learn better? Oh, you still got a way to go. And I went through that phase too. So you got to leave them where they're at. So last night, I was talking about fear yesterday, right? And so for me, I've been grappling with fear. I've been talking to y'all about this shit, right? I've been grappling with my own fear. And last night, I don't know what the hell happened. My body would not let me sleep. I got in, I don't know what time did I get into bed. I was tired. It was like 11. And I was shaky and jittery, and my heart rate was like it was fast. And I'm laying in the bed like, what is going on? I felt faint. I was like, am I dehydrated? I didn't drink enough water. That's true. You know, I was like, I was drinking water, but it lasted from like 11 to 2:30 in the morning. And every time I thought I was going to fall asleep, I was literally jolted awake. Like I would feel myself fading, and I would wake up it's like in a panic. And I'd be like, fuck, man, I was almost sleeping and now I'm awake now. Like, and I'm sitting there like, am I okay? Is something wrong with me? And like, and I'm feeling into my body, and I'm just like this isn't like, I'm not in danger here, but I'm scared. Do you know when I finally fell asleep? It was somewhere around 2:30 in the morning, because I kept looking at my phone. I was like, when is this going to end? It's 2:30 in the morning. I took some deep breaths. Mind you, I'm still like, you know, I took some deep breaths, and I said, I surrender. I surrender to this process. I surrender to the truth of who I am. And I just kept repeating it. I surrender. I surrender to this process. I surrender to the truth of who I am. And then I woke up this morning. So I finally fell asleep. When I was in the midst of fear, and the fear was gripping me, I couldn't sleep. Even when I thought I was going to sleep, the fear woke me back up again. Like, oh, no, no, no. We can't go to sleep. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. Wake back up. Wake back up. That's what I was doing for hours, gripping to the fear of whatever was happening. And it wasn't until my surrender to this process that it was like, oh, this shit's whatever it is whatever it's happening. Just go to sleep. And I woke up this morning tired. Because of course I'm tired. I ain't getting no sleep. I didn't have my drink. I was like, let me get on here really quick. So, and I dreamt about some things, but that made it very clear what was going on internally within me, and how in that process last night, I went from here. No, I'm not here yet, but I went from here to here. Somewhere in the middle. Because I dreamt about people I normally do not dream about, and they told me things, and I was like, oh, okay. When you are ready to sit with you and understand you, also know that your life is going to shift. Also know that you will be confronted with your fears, your doubts, all of those things. That's why shadow work is so important. It's a big buzzword now, but basically shadow work means that in order for you to be the fullness of who you are, you have to deal with the ugly and the fear and the underbelly of you. You got to deal with your I don't know if y'all remember like 42nd Street, in the 1980s, or at least the reputation of it wherever you were at. You got to deal with that version of yourself. You got to deal with all your gritty taboo. You got to strip away this idea that you're such a nice person. You got to deal with your selfishness and your bullshit and your manipulation. You got to deal with what you're really afraid of. You can't gloss over that and hope that your meditation and veganism or and fresh air walks and all that will somehow cover up that shit, because it'll show up anyway. And then you'll be so sad because you don't understand why this is happening, because you're so elevated. No. Elevation requires going down. It requires going into the grit. You got to examine the bullshit. Now, I had to look at my years as a mistress, side chick, sidekick, compliment, extra meal, whatever. Like, I had to look at that shit that I did. Right? I had to look at how I, spent some time after my marriage blew up, and that was part of the beginning of this phase for me. I didn't even know it, but after that, blew up, and I was out in the world like, oh, I'm free. Well, shit, we fucking as a way to bury my pain. I had to look at that. This wasn't like some process where I was like, I left my marriage and then I started meditating again deeply and found coaches and here I am. No. I was sitting on a couch like in a stupor for months. And then my answer to my pain was not drinking or drugs, it was fucking. Right? And so I had to work through that. I had to work through some therapy. I had to work through being in a relationship with someone who was married. I had to work through poverty. And then that went up and plummeted. Y'all already done heard that story. I had to work through all of that because I had to face me. I had to face me. And because I knew and I've known for a while in the back of my head the truth of who I am. Like I just was fortunate enough to not have to look deeply enough to know. I wish, because I knew it was like there was no let up. It was like, no, 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 you can't hide. We're just going to keep going with this until you get it. You can't hide. So last night was exhausting. Normally I fast until like 11 or 12. This normally I don't even use these words. This is where I'm at right now. This bitch right here about to go eat because my body feels like it ran a marathon in the 4.5, 5 hours that I slept. But I want you to know that if your process is looking shitty, and you know that you're going through a thing, and you know that there's an awakening for you, or however you want to phrase it, it's all right. It's like that meme of the girl, and there's a meme of a girl in a wheelchair, and the girl's behind her, and in the picture, the girl who's holding on to the wheelchair, it says higher self, and the girl who's in the wheelchair is like, that's me. And the girl in the wheelchair is like, no, I'm good. And the higher self like dumps her off a cliff. I'm just saying, this process is not all love and light. Sometimes it looks like sleepless nights because you're in a panic, having some strange panic attack over you don't even know what it is. And the only way for you to get out of that shit is to surrender to the process that you are going through. The only way out is through. And that's what it's meant. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. For thine is my something or another, right? This is you, when you're going through this process, this is your shadow of death. Fear nothing. For you are source energy and it is with you. Surrender to the process and it will be a little bit easier. Fight it, buck against it, your ass gonna be up all night, getting no fucking sleep. Lesson learned. All right, that's it for today. I'm tired. I have to drink some English breakfast tea or something today because this ain't gonna work out. I have meetings all day today. I was like, oh, you fucker. This is not even on a day when I don't have any meetings. This is a day when I'm literally going to be on Zoom for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I will be on Zoom for about 8 to 12 hours today. This day? You see what I'm saying? It wasn't like on a day when I didn't have no fucking meetings, right? I had to get no sleep on a day when I got to be forward facing, looking like, man, she ain't get no sleep last night. Off camera today, y'all. It'll be an off camera day today. You all have a wonderful Friday. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.